Please welcome Richard Chong, 15th Space Surveillance Squadron Executive Director, to introduce our next invited talk.
This gentleman really doesn't need an introduction. Thank you. Kidding. It's my pleasure today, actually, to have the honor and privilege to bring up your next speaker. A prodigy, a golf prodigy in his formative years growing up, junior golf champion, Boomer Sooner, ROTC cadet, a long distinguished active duty career, and continues to serve to this day as the as the PEO and director of the Space Rapid Capabilities Office, Dr. Kelly Hammett. I got you. It's not 3 o'clock yet, but just in case, I got you. I got you.
All right, Dick, thank you very much for that underwhelming, appreciative introduction. Yeah, so it occurred to me a couple of things. I've got a few things to say before I jump into the charts. Occurs to me that I've been coming here overseeing this conference for about 20 years, actually, and I think this is the first time I've been invited to get up on stage and actually speak. So I don't know what that says, but we'll find out where it goes from here. Scott's not in the audience, but the other day I got here on Wednesday, and he introduced Colonel Roth and Colonel Rayleigh, and he said, one of them gets it, and one of them's scary smart. And I said, well, okay, that's perfect for me, because that means get smart. Paul's old enough to understand where that's coming from. Maybe some of you were, because you laughed as well. I want to say, first of all, thank you to MEDB, the conference organizers, for having me here, for having all of us here, for having the courage to move forward with this event. It's a very important event. There are, of course, very traumatic events that have occurred on Maui in the last couple months, and we need to be thankful that we're able to do this, and we need to remember all those who have suffered and been, suffered catastrophic events. So it's great that we can be here and we can recover somewhat to the Maui economy with our contributions and move forward our technical progress, but we should be humble and thankful that we're able to do this. So a moment of applause for the conference organizers for keeping us moving forward. Okay, so those of you who may have known me in my past role in AFRL, I moved about 15 months ago. I am now the director and the program executive officer for the Space Rapid Capabilities Office. So I'm going to give a little bit of an overview about the office, but then I'm also going to talk about kind of our mission space and what we're doing, and it's very relevant to this audience and kind of represents a pivot in terms of the mission needs that we are bringing forward on behalf of U.S. Space Command, Space Operations Command, the operational community, and what we've been asked to do there. So you can see the title of my topic. The title of my talk is about the office and then dynamic space operations. So if you've had the chance to listen to General John Shaw, Lieutenant General John Shaw, Deputy Commander of U.S. Space Command, he has surfaced this topic many times over the last few months, and he talks in terms of analogies. A lot of our satellites we have put on orbit right now, he said, are like Priuses or Winnebagos, right? They have one tank of gas, and you drive them about a mile, and then you park, and then you sit there, and you hope that nothing comes your way. But that's not where we want to be as a nation, as a space force. And so we need to move toward dynamic space operations, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Let's see, did they give me a clicker? Dick didn't give me a clicker, there we go. Okay, so this is the overview. Okay, so I like to tell this story. Space RCO, I'm the second director of the Space RCO. The office has existed for roughly 4.5 years, and we are the oldest acquisition organization in the United States Space Force. So there are three of us. Space Development Agency and Space Systems Command, and both of those had their birth after us. We were actually created by National Defense Authorization Act of 2018, and before the Space Force even existed. So there are some things, some artifacts about how we're created, how we're governed, that are different and were not envisioned in terms of what the Space Force was going to do. And we're still reacting and evolving that a little bit. But we're a small office. We're curtained by law. We are not allowed to be co-located with Space Systems Command. We are to be an independent rapid space acquisition organization. No kidding. It's in the law. You can go look it up. And we are supposed to be moving very quickly to deliver new first-of types of capabilities for the Space Force. So Space Development Agency is out there. They're doing a lot of proliferated LEO stuff, buying a lot of commercial things, expanding out that architecture. Space Systems Command still does a lot of the long, exquisite GPS, WGS, MILSATCOM types of things. We are doing primarily space warfighting and new things that the Space Force needs as the threat environment evolves, and we're here to make sure that we keep pace with those threats. So I have a board of directors chaired by the Secretary of the Air Force. I have basically all the principals in the DoD sit on my board, but we have one voting member, the Secretary. So the Secretary says go or do not go, and I go or I do not go, depending on what the Secretary tells us. And we're able to go really, really fast up front because we do not do formally chartered acquisition programs of record. We are JCIDS exempt, which means we don't have to do CBAs, AOAs, all that stuff pre-milestone A that takes many years to get a program started. We get requirements from our combatant commander, from the Space Force, S8 or S5R shop, and we move when the Secretary says go. And so we can start programs inside of a year, which is pretty fantastic. Okay, so I talked about this. General Saltzman was here on Wednesday. Unfortunately, I got here Wednesday about noon and missed his talk, but I know he has been unveiling the new mission statement for the Space Force. It's right there in the second bullet: secure our nation's interests in, from, and to space. And that includes deterrence, and that includes conflict if conflict is needed. Of course, we don't want to go there, but combat credible forces is the Chief's first line of effort. And that's where we focus a lot of our activities, protecting space assets and protecting terrestrial assets from space-enabled attack. So I kind of said this. There's a picture of General Shaw. He, like I said, prior to his retirement ceremony about 2 weeks ago, he's been out on the road thumping the podium saying we need to change how we operate in space. We need to be mobile. We need to be able to take on the missions that we need and not be regretful of having to use Delta V to avoid collisions, to avoid attacks, other types of things. So at my board of directors meeting last October, General Dickinson said, do not build me any more systems that cannot be dynamically enabled. They need to be refuelable, they need to be maneuverable, they need to have the capability to enable this dynamic space operations type of capability. And so we just awarded a contract recently, our first program that has refueling and space access and mobility logistics as part of the baseline. So again, trying to push this out, get it going, get the industrial base to respond. There's a lot of commercial activity in this area, but the Space Force needs it as well. Okay, so I said we've been here around 4.5 years. I've been in the office for 15 months, and it was pretty fantastic just this January to kind of have our official coming out. You may have seen an article from Sandra Irwin that said, you know, stepping out of the shadows. I've been making the circuit. I've been talking about we are a real thing. We are a real kid. We are delivering capabilities, payloads, and in January of this year, we launched our first payloads on orbit. Fantastic success story. These were threat awareness sensors and a crypto payload that enables on-orbit rekeying and multi-level security on a payload bus. So that took us just over 3 years. That's kind of the center that Frank Calvelli, our acquisition executive, wants us to try to hit, 3 to 4 years in terms of issuing a contract and getting capabilities out on orbit. And we went through LEOPS through this program in about 2 weeks, and we concluded all of our cooperative on-orbit testing in about 90 days. These payloads are now floating around GEO, collecting all kinds of interesting information that we did not have prior to this. So pretty cool. And so again, we're here, we're real. You'll see me out and about talking about the things that we're doing in the Space RCO, because it matters. Another program that we have, you may have seen this. I know this is an SDA audience, but the satellite control network that allows us to do command and control of all of our satellites. I like to ask this question. Do any of you know what the oldest weapon system is in the United States Air Force? Anybody? Come on, Sherry, you know. The B-52. B-52. It's been flying since the late 40s. You know what the second oldest weapon system in the Department of the Air Force is? The satellite control network. And guess what we've done to the B-52? We've re-engined it, we've re-avionicsed it. What have we done to the satellite control network? Watched it decay. So we have this program called SCAR that is basically ground-based phased array antennas instead of parabolic dishes that allows us to upgrade the capacity of the SCN and be able to maintain multiple simultaneous contacts, not one dish, one bird, but one dish, 20 or more birds. And we can do that to LEO or GEO, whatever is needed. And so this is a big program that has a lot of attention right now. And we just actually, like 3 weeks ago, had a demo of our 1 meter dish. It has to grow to about 20 by 10 meters to be able to reach LEO, but we're on track with this, and we'll deliver the first units in 2025. But like I just said, the subscale demo was just completed a couple of weeks ago. Oh, by the way, the lightning bolts are for effect. Those aren't real. All right, another thing that we're doing, we were given this program by Mr. Calvelli, our space acquisition executive, which is basically to do the tactical command and control, the last mile of C2 and synchronization of all of our space assets for the space warfighting missions. So he signed out an ADM in February. We stood up the program office. We are proceeding through the acquisition planning. We've done a number of industry days, number of RFIs, but we will be delivering, like I said, the last tactical mile of C2 with a common operating picture for the operators in Space Operations Command. One of the first things that happened to me in this job was General Whiting called me up, said, quit delivering one-off systems with individual user displays. Dennis is down here, same thing. He's told me several times, stop it. So we're going to try to deliver a common user experience per the standards that they have asked us for, and we will be able to synchronize the activities, the actions, the things that we need in space. And again, back to this dynamic space operations context. Your job as an SDA community has been hard up to this point. It's just going to get harder. Why? Because things are going to be moving in real time, and we gotta know where they're going, what their intent is, whether they're hostile, whether we need to maneuver ourselves, whether we need to protect, defend, take other actions, and that's what this program is about doing. So we're trying to build a cloud-based architecture to do that and scale across all the programs that we have coming in the Space Force. So it's no good if we go really fast on the front end of things and we skip the JSIDS process and we get a short list of requirements and we build something and then we come in and we drop it on the table, say, here you go. That doesn't work. It actually has to be fielded, tested, certified, and so we have to work through a process of rapid fielding with Space Operations Command, with STARCOM, and with US Space Command. So when we go this quickly, we will not do everything in the suitability aspect of what is needed for a system, but we will do enough to make it useful, and then we will come back and we'll iterate and we'll keep making things better and make it sustainable and make it more suitable. But so General Whiting and I signed an MOA last November that said we will tailor the process to make sure that we can take advantage of our ability to move at speed and scale to deliver these new capabilities. And that's essentially what this says here. You may have seen a basing announcement come out, not really a basing announcement, sorry, a preferred location announcement from SAF PA that will have the Delta 11 Range and Aggressor Squadron at Kirtland Air Force Base. So we will have the Space RCO, we will have AFRL, RD, and RV, we will have Joe Roth's team for innovation, prototyping, flight experiments, and then we'll have the test and certification authority right there at Kirtland. So we can lump all those guys together, we can tailor these processes, and we can go fast to make things happen, which is what we need in case you don't want to speak Mandarin or teach your children or your grandchildren to speak Mandarin, which is my goal. Okay, so couple things that I've done in the office since I've been there. As I said, we've responded to the demand signal from our combatant commander to lead the pivot toward dynamic space operations. But a lot of what we have done has been extremely highly classified and very narrow in scope. As I just talked about, a couple of programs, R2C2, SCAR, are not. And we need to open our aperture, and we need to take advantage of all the investment that's happening, all the technology that's being matured through the laboratories, through commercial innovation, through international innovation. And so one of the experiments that we're doing right now, exactly right now, is partnering with AFRL to do a hyperspace challenge where we are focusing on dynamic space operations, and we are asking non-traditional and international partners to come work with us to give us ideas about things that they have been funding, they've been working on, independent of the DoD, that we may be able to take advantage of, and these are the areas, right? Space visibility and awareness, I just talked about. Things are going to be moving, things are coming at you, things are going away from you. What is it? Is it real? Is it a threat? What do we need to do? We need autonomy. And again, Colonel Roth and Colonel Rayleigh talked about AI and machine learning. We cannot have operators on the loop of every satellite saying, turn left, go right a meter. If it sees a threat, it needs to do what it needs to do, and we need to be able to build those capabilities into the system. So we're looking for AI and autonomy. And then, as I just said, SAML. We need Delta V, we need resurfacing, refueling, mission extension, all those types of things, because we're going to have that capability. Okay, so we had about 80 companies apply for the program. We are going to be down selecting here the first week of November and interviewing companies to bring some of these things. I'll tell you, I saw a note last night. I think we're down to 10 or so companies that we're considering. Half of them are international. Half of them are international, which is fantastic, because we never would have considered that before in our portfolio. So we're trying to find a way, again, to reach out, to harvest what is going on in the larger community. So these are our contact links. You can send us email. My team will get back to you. You will not go into a black hole if you send emails or requests to these. And I think I am done. So we try to be quick, we try to be rapid, and we try to get to the important things. So I'll take any questions.
Sir, in the vein of dynamic space operations and potential partnerships with non-traditional partners or small businesses, can you provide some pro tips for those that might be interested in partnering with you in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna do this hyperspace challenge. We're gonna try this. We're gonna see how that works. We are connected pretty closely with SSC and with OSD Space Policy on international agreements and trying to work through ITAR and other types of things there. General Panzenhagen, the new AATS PEO, has SAML essentially in her mission space and will try to normalize this. She and I need to get together and kind of talk about the strategy, but we'll be sure at Space Access, Mobility and Logistics down in Orlando in a few months. I think it's February, where we'll roll out the next phase and the next approach. But we need to build that strategy, and we need to be inclusive of folks that are out there and what they have to offer.
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have, but
right.
thank you very much for joining us again at AMOS.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.